Lions run a Philly special, and they blow out the Seahawks.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Monday Night Football in the books, and we welcome you into another episode of Locked On Lions, everybody, in the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matt Derry with you on a Monday night that saw the Detroit Lions get to 3-1. They knock off the Seahawks 42-29 at Ford Field. The black uniforms were out. Calvin Johnson goes into the Lions Ring of Honor and the pride of the Lions. And Detroit's offense was back. Thanks for making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Shout out to our everydayers who are out there, those of you that watch and listen to the program every single day. Robert Banker, proprietor of Gaines Media. We love you, Robert. Thank you for being there. Joe Blue, who hit me up on Twitter at Derry Speaks tonight, said he is an everydayer. And a new listener, Garden City's finest, Justin Cross. Shout out to Justin. Welcome into the program, my friend. Thank you for being with us. Locked On Lions tonight. And excuse the voice. Got a bad cold and cough here, a little sinus infection. We're battling through. Today's podcast is brought to you by Gametime. Best app for tickets. Download the Gametime app. Create the account. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm supposed to go to the game tonight with my guy, Matt Cunningham, but man, I've been sick the last couple of days, so watched from home. But follow us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, Matt Derry Facebook fan page, which was a buzzing tonight throughout the game. And of course, thank you for subscribing and watching on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Lions win 42-29. A lot to get into tonight. We got to talk about Jared Goff, the offense, the play calling, the Philly special, St. Brown getting the pitch, throwing it back to Goff. Love seeing that. You just had a feeling a trick play was coming. Seattle was bunched up on the interior on that call, and you just had a feeling some sort of misdirection, something was going to work in that spot. Defense tonight was a little bit leaky. We'll get into that coming up momentarily. Joe Buck was infatuated with Jake Bates's extra points, which narrowly went through the uprights. He was very into that, but they went through. And the Lions get a much needed win heading to the bye as they sit at 3-1. Everybody looking up in the NFC at the Minnesota Vikings, who are 4-0. Hard to argue with what Minnesota has done, and they just went into Green Bay and beat the Packers. But man, I like what I saw from the Lions offense tonight. They wanted the football, start the game. They won the toss, elected to receive, which was smart. You keep Geno Smith and that Seahawks offense off the field. Remember, the last 3 times the Lions have played the Seattle Seahawks put up like 48, 37, and 31, something like that. And the Lions finally snapped this 6-game losing streak to the Seahawks. Again, excuse the voice. I'm doing the best I can in this situation, but we got to get through it. But the Lions got the ball first, which I liked. They wanted to get it and attack. And yes, they got stopped on their first possession. They held Seattle on their first possession, but it was on that second possession. The Lions go 93 yards in 12 plays. They cap it off with a David Montgomery touchdown run. And for the second straight week, this was Lions football. This was who the Lions are, which is run the rock, pound the rock. And you got to give credit to Hank Fraley, the Lions offensive line coach, because this was a game the Lions went into without arguably their most valuable player in Frank Ragnow, who is as good a center as there is in the NFL. I know there's Creed Humphrey and there's others. Frank Ragnow is special. He's a tremendous player. Tore his pectoral muscle last week. Told Dan Campbell this week he wanted to play, but they're like, look, let's sit him out for Monday night. He'll get a bye next week if the Lions don't play. And then he'll be ready, hopefully, for Dallas. So Graham Glasgow moves over from left guard to center. And Coyote Awashika, who had played a lot last year, and he's a good, solid, dependable backup, went in at left guard tonight. And I thought he did a tremendous job. The Lions were running behind Awashika, Woshika, whatever you want to call and Decker and all those guys. And they established being physical. ESPN picked up one of the Seahawks, the defensive players were kind of huddling before the game. And one of the guys on their team is like, they're soft, they're not tough. And it's like, what are you talking about? All right. You can't out tough the Lions. This is their identity. And for the last 2 weeks, after what happened in week 2 and Goff throwing the ball 55 times, excuse me, Ben Johnson and the staff have gone back to doing what the Lions do best, and that is run the football. You've got a dominant offensive line. Has anybody watched these other games the first 4 weeks? O-line play is at an all-time low. You got guys out here holding on every play. You got guys out here that are not willing to put in the effort to block for their quarterback or block for their running backs. The Lions O-line, they're so well coached with Fraley. There's veterans up front. There's dominant guys like Sewell and Ragnow. You got really, really good players like Zeitler and Decker. And, Glasgow's a pro. And this team tonight established the run again. David Montgomery, give him the football. 12 carries, 40 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, 14 carries, 78 yards. Lions on the night ran for 116. They had held Seattle in check for the first half. Second half, Seahawks exploded and finished with 133. But again, it was the Lions early on that established their will. And I liked that. You knew Seattle was going to put up points. We just talked about it. Geno Smith, for some odd reason, loves playing at Ford Field. And again, the Lions can't get to him. Way too much time to throw tonight. Smith, 38 out of 56 for 395. He was sacked 3 times. The Lions got some hits on him. But at times tonight, way too much time to throw and way too comfortable. Seattle had over 500 yards of total offense tonight against the Lions defense. But I want to talk about the offense for a second. We've talked about this for weeks. What's wrong with Jared Goff? Why is he not himself? Did the money get to his head? All these things that people can speculate on. I don't believe any of that. He just hasn't been crisp. He hasn't been sharp. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he did not miss a throw. A perfect 18 out of 18, which is an NFL record because the last time anybody went without missing a throw was Kurt Warner in like 05 when he went 10 for 10. Goff goes 18 for 18, 292 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a passer rating of 155.8. Now, the perfect passer rating is 158.3, but because the Jamison Williams touchdown pass was a lot of run after catch, that takes the percentage down. Don't ask me why. I was asking people about it tonight, and that's what I was told. But a tremendous performance from Goff. Stood in the pocket, made big throws when he had to, threw the ball away when he had to, took a sack instead of throwing an interception when he had to. The spin move in the first quarter to get the football over the middle to St. Brown. Utilizing more of Sam Laporta. I love the tight end screen that Ben Johnson called tonight for Laporta. I thought that was really great. And you just loved what you saw from this football team this evening on the offensive side. Everything was clicking. There weren't a lot of mistakes. Yes, there were some penalties defensively and everything else, but you go into a game against the Seattle defense that had been really good the first 3 weeks, and I know need water. I know they had played some bad quarterbacks, Bo Nix and Jacoby Brissett, and last week Skylar Thompson. So you knew they were going to be tested. They had 4 defensive starters out tonight. Leonard Williams was out. Mafe was out. They had guys out. But the Lions took advantage of it. And, Witherspoon's really good. Woolen's really good. They got good players over there. Seattle's a good team. That's not an easy out, especially with that offense. But you saw tonight Goff get into a rhythm. You could tell he felt good. The running game then set up the play action pass. The throw over the middle to Jamison Williams where it St. Brown was also free. He just made good decisions. And on Monday Night Football in front of a national audience to go 18 out of 18 for 292 and to catch a touchdown on the Philly special from St. Brown, it was a night that we all needed to see from Jared Goff. What sucks is this bye week next week, and I know the Lions have a lot of injuries, so it's not a terrible time for the bye, but the offense is now in some rhythm for the first time all year. Put up a big number at 42, a 42 burger, and yet they will not be able to play next week. They're off before heading to Dallas in 2 weeks, and the Cowboys are very banged up. And now Micah Parsons could be out a few weeks, so we'll have to see about that. All right, coming up next, let's get into the defense a little bit. We'll hand out some game balls. Good win tonight for the Lions. Anytime you could beat a team that came in at 3-0 and a team that always beats you, Seattle had won the last 6 in this series. You will take that any day of the week. It's Locked On Lions, little post-game Monday night show as the Lions win 42-29. And Locked On Lions tonight brought to you by our friends at the Gametime app. Listen, they got a new feature. You want tickets? You go to the Gametime app for anything. Tigers could be playing ALDS baseball next week. If they can beat the Astros, you want tickets, you get them on Gametime. Lions will be back home to face the juggernaut Tennessee Titans October 27th. You want tickets to that? Go to the Gametime app. They got a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. What I love about Gametime is the view from your seat. Check it out. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy the ticket, so you know exactly where you are going to be sitting. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. All right, Locked On Lions for a post-game Monday on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Matt Derry with you, 42-29. Lions over the Seattle Seahawks. Again, excuse the voice. A little cold cough, sinus infection. So we are trying to power through this evening as the Lions get the victory. What a crowd at Ford Field again tonight. My gosh, you guys are just the best. The black jerseys were going. Look, I said this when they announced that they were bringing the black jerseys back. I didn't want the black uniforms back. It reminded me of the bad John Kitna Lion teams. I thought they looked pretty sweet. I like the blue helmets. I saw like Jim Brandstatter complaining on Twitter. Come on, Jim. Come on, man. Like, those were cool. The Lions look cool tonight. They look badass. The players loved them. Amon-Ra St. Brown, before the game, after the game, was talking about how much he loved playing in that uniform. And the Lions performed, and they won. And the fans like them, and they're 3-1. Shout out to Brad Galley, by the way, Channel 7. If you watched the pregame tonight on ABC, Brad did a great interview with Brad Holmes. Here's the thing about Brad Galley. Dude works hard. He does straight sports, and he works hard. All right. I see a lot of these other pregame shows with 17 different people sitting around a table yucking it up and doing inside bits. Brad got on there and got a great interview with Brad Holmes. It was really good. So shout out to Channel 7 sports director, BG, Brad Galley. I thought he did a great job on the pregame tonight. I had some folks complaining to me this evening about Joe Buck and some Troy Aikman haters. Like, geez, look, I'd rather listen to Troy than Tony Romo. Would you not? And I know a lot of it was based off of Alex Kemp and the officiating crew. I thought the officiating tonight was bad both ways, to be honest. They missed some stuff against Seattle. They were picking on Terrion Arnold, which we'll get to in a second. And the game just kept dragging on. Like, guys, enough with the flags. Lions got penalized 12 times tonight. That has got to be cleaned up. That has got to be cleaned up because you want to win in this league. You can't shoot yourself in the foot. 12 penalties, way too many. James Houston played like 5 snaps and lined up offsides twice. That dude's roster spot's got to be in trouble. Is he doing anything? You get in the game. You finally get a chance to get in the game with Davenport on IR, with Barnes out, and you jump off sides twice. Come on, man. I wonder how much longer he's going to be on this team. I think they're going to make some sort of move. I don't know if they're going to go get Hassan Reddick. I don't know about that. He can't agree to terms with the Jets. He's still holding out. The Lions could use some help opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Hutchinson is doing all he can. Tonight, spin moves, triple teams, double teams. He was in there again. He was wreaking havoc. Wasn't his best game. But, Pascal was okay. Lions need some help on that opposite edge for sure. As far as the defense tonight, first and foremost, Brian Branch was sick. He probably has what I have. Had an illness. Dan Campbell saying after the game that he had cleared, and it was nothing that had to do with his concussion, but they just felt like they would keep him out tonight. Brandon Joseph played. He was okay, but they really missed Brian Branch tonight. There were way too many missed tackles, way too much diving at legs and diving at knees. And Brian Branch is as sure a tackler as there is coming up from that secondary. And he was missed immensely tonight. So they got to get number 32 back on the field. As far as the Terrion Arnold situation, look, you're a first-round pick. You got to play better. I'm not giving up on a kid 4 games in. Terrion Arnold is going to be a good player. You could see he's there. He's right there. It's not like he's getting toasted or burnt and he's 15 yards behind the receiver. But, dude, it's 4 games in. Get your hands off the receivers. You cannot be so handsy. You can't be so grabby. 8 penalties already? I know they pick on young corners. I know it's the most difficult position to immediately step in and play in the league. Young quarterbacks go through hell. All right? But he has got to be better about all the grabbing that goes on. Alex Anzalone tonight, Gaines media poster boy, had a bad night. This was not the best performance by the defense, but again, based off of what we see in the last few years, 48 points 2 years ago, 37 points last year, the Lions did play better. And you could see the upgrade. And I'll say this, and I'm going to give him a game ball later. Carlton Davis was badass tonight. He would tell you he could play better, but he was physical with DK Metcalf. He was in his shirt. He was all up in Metcalf's business. The battle between DK and Davis all night was entertaining. And for a veteran to come in and take over that number 1 corner role, I thought tonight, number 23 did well. I enjoyed seeing what he was bringing to the table. He's tough. He's physical, doesn't back down, and he's a lion. He plays like a Detroit Lion in 2024. So I didn't love that trade when it went down. Thought maybe it was too big of a haul to get a guy that's going to make $13 million. Carlton Davis has played well. And if he stays healthy in a contract year, he's going to perform for this team. And it's an upgrade over what they had last year when they were trotting out Cam Sutton and Kendall Vildor. So, and Jack Campbell had a really good game tonight too. And forcing the fumble, sticking with it. Onwuzurike continues to be active. I thought that penalty on him for roughing the passer was absolute BS. Come on now. Driving him to the ground. What's he supposed to do? You get a chance to sack the quarterback, you're going to do it. So defense was leaky tonight. There were moments you went, what are they doing? They gave up way too many yards. But when they needed to get a stop late, they got it. The Kirby Joseph interception. How good has he been to start the year with 3 picks? I love what I saw from Kirby Joseph tonight. And all in all, you'll take it. All right. We waited years in this town to get Monday Night Football games here. Last year, they honored Lomas Brown at halftime of the Raider game, put him in the Lions, Ring of Honor or Pride of the Lions, whatever they call it. This year, Calvin Johnson. So many guys came back. I saw Nate Burleson was back, Golden Tate, Johnny Morton, my boy Richard Dirt Jordan. Shout out to 99. That's my boy. Stephen Tulloch. It was great to see. And these are the kind of nights that we relish in this town. And now that the Tigers go to the playoffs, it's a great time to be a Detroit sports fan. It really is. But tonight was a lot of fun. All right, let me rest the voice for a second. We're going to talk about FanDuel. We'll get some game balls handed out. We got to do that too. We'll do that coming up next right here on Locked On Lions. Hey, if you're the Lions tonight, -3.5, and you bet on FanDuel, you were a winner. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com. Baseball playoffs are starting up tomorrow. 4 games, including Tigers and Astros. You want to put some money down on Tarek Skubal to do his thing down in Houston? Do it at FanDuel. It is the best sports book out there. And they're also a proud sponsor of the Locked On Podcast Network. Again, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets when you place your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. All right, we got to hand out some game balls as the Lions win 42-29 over the Seattle Seahawks here on a Monday evening edition of Locked On Lions. We'll get you the PFF grades tomorrow. Trey Wingo. Yes, my guy, Trey Wingo, formerly of ESPN, now with DraftKings, is going to join us on Wednesday. We got a bye week this week, so there will be no Thursday crossover. I'm taking a little trip, Lions bye week trip. You got to do it. But it's all good, ladies and gentlemen. Lions are 3-1. Yes, they are looking up at the Minnesota Vikings in the division. Big surprise. Vikings go into Lambeau and win. What a job Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores are doing. But regardless, it is still very early. But the Lions know they can play better and yet still sit at 3-1. Could be worse. It could be the Titans and Dolphins who play tonight. Anybody catch that dog game? My goodness. All right, game balls. Well, easy first one. Jared Goff. Perfect night. Mr. Perfect. Kurt Hennig. 18 out of 18. 292. 2 touchdowns. Caught a touchdown pass. Passer rating of 155.8. What can be said about the job that Jared Goff did tonight? Was fantastic. He gets a game ball. I'm giving a game ball as well to Jameson Williams. 2 catches for 80 yards, including that 70-yard touchdown. But did you watch Jameson Williams block in the run game tonight? He was phenomenal out on the edge. Did a great job blocking. Also dunked the ball and spiked it, which is illegal, and got a penalty. Like JMO celebrations are always interesting. He gets a game ball tonight. Carlton Davis gets a game ball for me. Fumble recovery. How many tackles did he have? 7 tackles, 3 passes defended. Was tremendous. Kirby Joseph also gets a game ball. 9 tackles, 5 solo, a TFL, an interception to close out the game, and a pass defended. And yes, I'm giving a game ball to Jake Bates. Kicker list, not even reaching for it. 6 for 6 on extra points, including a long one that he had to hit after the JMO 15-yard penalty. So shout out to Jake Bates, who is getting a game ball from me tonight. But all in all, a good win, 42-29. Lions actually won the third quarter tonight, 14-13. We've talked about how bad, and Jeremy Reisman from Pride of Detroit likes to call it the turd quarter. We know how third quarters have been the last couple of years for the Lions. Last week didn't score a point in Arizona, but this was a good football team they played tonight. Look at all the weapons that Seattle has. Smith and Jigba, Lockett, Canine is unbelievable in the backfield. Charbonnet, Barner, the tight end, the former Indiana Hoosier and Michigan Wolverine. Metcalf, we know how good he is. DK tonight, 7 catches for $104. Had a touchdown taken away, but that's a good football team. Geno Smith, Threw the ball 56 times tonight for 395. But only one touchdown, and they picked him off. Jared Goff outplayed Geno Smith tonight. And Geno has owned the Lions the last few years. That's a good and dangerous Seattle team. And if the Lions play them again, or have to play them again in the playoffs, expect these kind of games, because that was entertaining as all heck. But play calling I thought was really good tonight. Love what Ben Johnson was doing. I hated at the end of the game, though, second down, you're at your own 1 yard line. 2:15, whatever it was to go. He's got Goff play action pass from under center and gets a safety. Like, why? All the great calls tonight from Ben Johnson. The Philly special, the tight end screen to Laporta, the bubble screen to St. Brown that J-Mo actually missed a block on. But I love what they were doing in the run game. He calls a pass play there? What? What are you doing? That I thought was ridiculous. But all in all, good night. Lions win 42-29. We'll get you the PFF grades tomorrow. Trey Wingo on Wednesday. I'm going to go rest my voice. Thanks for checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for being with us on Locked On Lions. Leos are 3-1, baby. We'll do it again tomorrow.